Yeah. Welcome to the church, volume 2. Exclusive 213. Got my nephew Nate Dogg in the house. Nate Dogg, holla at him. Where you at?
Riding in my car.
The big question, CrossFit or Hyrox? Simply put, they can both coincide at the same time. As a CrossFit coach, I get the question on a weekly basis. What do you think now of CrossFit, now that Hyrox is here? Is Hyrox here to take over? Oh, that's a Hyrox movement. Oh, CrossFit's this or that. At the end of the day, the way I see it is all fitness is good fitness. And we've had the same conversation since F45 started. F45 was, oh, F45 or CrossFit. They can both coexist. EFT or CrossFit. Oh, UBX or CrossFit. FitStop or CrossFit. It doesn't matter. Whatever has come along, and my core beliefs are all derivatives of group training, and probably the top of the echelon of it all will be CrossFit, because CrossFit is the one thing that can touch and sprinkle down to all of those other modalities. Now, it doesn't mean to say that one is right and one is wrong. There is a form of fitness that's preferable to different people, and it's as simple as that. If you're a user who is inspired to go to the gym and actually partake and be active, it doesn't matter what type of fitness you're doing. And in my eyes specifically, that's all I could ask for. If we speak on this subject of, I got into this industry to help other people and create better health and wellness plans for people and be a part of their journey, it doesn't just stop at me. I don't have to be the reason or the place of house that you get your fitness from. As a coach, it's highly important that we remember that we're only here to facilitate the user's goals. We're not here to create the goals for you or live our life vicariously through your ability. That's it. So now that Hyrox is here, what I've noticed is Hyrox has made all of the CrossFitters want to be better runners. Because now I don't know if it's an element of, oh, I don't want them to beat me in a certain modality, and that could be the case, or if now it's just pulled more people into running and it's the thing to do right now. Running should always be a brick on the wall in terms of fitness in your fitness model. Now, if you really want to take that one step further and you look at the CrossFit Games, most of the successful CrossFit Games athletes, especially in recent times, have been the better runners. You could even go back as far as when Sam Briggs won. She wasn't the best weightlifter, but she was by far the best runner in the field, and she was the most competitive. Generally speaking, the better you are at long distance running, the better your recoverability, the better your oxidative system. When you're coming into a CrossFit competition, not only are you generally pretty good at producing a high output for a sustained period of time, your recovery rate before the next event and turning up without as much depletion or fatigue as the next athlete who isn't quite in the same situation is generally in a better place. So I think that Hyrox has kicked in that again for CrossFit users, and even for myself and a group of people around me, just dabbling with that modality again. We call our training session once a week the Hyrox gang, but because there's no better term for it, essentially, if you're looking at CrossFit, we want to hit every single modality: short, sharp, fast, heavy, slow and long, and then 60 minutes plus. So if that's a tentacle on the octopus, so to speak, to touch, and we're not touching that on a weekly basis, there's obviously a brick on the wall that's not getting placed to the point that we want it to. So I've really enjoyed the notion of, I think, this Hyrox versus CrossFit theory, so to speak. But in my eyes, it's Hyrox and CrossFit. Now, what's the differences between both of them? And it's still so pretty new to the scope of the fitness world in terms of competing in the competition side of things. I would liken the Hyrox event similar to the Olympics. You know what you're going to get every single time you turn up. A 400 meter race is going to be a 400 meter race, and the distance will be the same distance no matter where you are in the world. A shot put will be a shot put. It'll be the same weight and load. Yes, the environment or the wind might change wherever you are, but by and large, Hyrox event being 8 kilometers worth of running and then those movements in between, it's not going to change. So you can understand and mentally prepare for the test and train accordingly. Whereas CrossFit, the beauty in CrossFit is you have to train so broad that you might land on the same test, or you're prepared for a test that kind of falls within your training umbrella. Now, there are going to be some consistencies in CrossFit that you need to train 70-80% within your training program. Squat well, be on machines for your cardio and engine output, do some sort of form of gymnastics, make sure your running is intact, and whatever the differences are in between, you can kind of lengthen out and reach and touch those things. So for Hyrox specifically, I like the fact that we already know what we're in for. Do I see it lasting forever? You know, some of those other things that we mentioned earlier, now maybe on the outer, well, this all depends. I think that Hyrox is going to be here for a long time. I think it's the new current half marathon. I think when people get into a run club or see a half marathon as an awesome goal and want to achieve that, I think that Hyrox is a low level barrier to entry in terms of it's not intimidating. The movement's pretty low skill. There's a lot of running involved. You don't need a lot of equipment. You can do a lot of the training in a Globo gym or even at home. Is there enough variety to keep a user in it for 5-10 plus years? You know, I've been doing CrossFit myself for now nearly 13 years, and I've got a lot of users around me 10 plus years, and they're still excited about it today as they were at the start. Is that going to be the same for Hyrox? I know that like the most elite competitive side of it, maybe 3 years now. So it's just, I don't know if that's going to be the case. I don't know if there's enough variety for it to go a long way into the future. However, there could become derivatives from that. You know, you could, I don't know if people are thinking about this, but do a Hyrox in reverse. It'll be a completely different workout. Start on 100 wall balls, finish on a 1K run on the other end. It'll be a completely different workout. It'll be a cool way to do it as a methodology or a training session. But yes, I think that it may have a lifespan for a user, whether that's do it the first time, cool, bucket list tick. Maybe do it again because you want to beat your score, but the training might be a bit mundane for you. You might want a little bit of indifferences or developing more skill, but you could definitely be training and increasing your times, and that be your pathway to progress and your motivation to turn up to the gym. And you can definitely incorporate other things into the training outside of the kind of 8 or 10 movements that they have in there. I think that the most unfortunate thing with it is if you were to say do a calf or an Achilles or a hamstring, that causes a lot of your running volume to digress in a training block, and then that's 80% of the competition or the workout. And if that's gone, then that could be pretty hard mentally. Whereas I think in CrossFit, you know, you get an injury to one body part, there's still a million other things that you can do and you still need to develop. But again, I like the low level entry of skill to enter a Hyrox event, and then that can also be quite intimidating for people to get into something like CrossFit. We often forget, and we hear all too many times in CrossFit, that I need to go to the gym to get fit before I start CrossFit. And how wrong can that statement be? You can go to CrossFit as your very first entry to a gym and still be there and learn your pathway and progress along the whole system. It's for everybody. It changes by degree of difficulty, not by program design. I do like the nature of the community for both, for CrossFit and for Hyrox. Hyrox specifically, you're probably training in a more smaller group. I don't know if there's much groups that are training it, you know, groups of 15, 20, 30 plus at the moment. I think we'll get there. But I think in 2s and 3s, definitely for sure, a lot of solo training. CrossFit, obviously, you've got, you know, hundreds of users on a day in a gym. So there's community and culture for both of those things. The style and formatting of a Hyrox, how you just start, you get a time entry on your event, you get through your portion, an hour, maybe up to 2 hours, and then you're off the field and that's it. I know it's a limitation for some people wanting to maybe travel internationally and just turn up for a 2-hour event. Whereas CrossFit, it might be a 3-day thing. You get different tests. You really get to interact with a lot of other athletes and sit down with them in the shed, so to speak. But more so on like a whole athlete creation, CrossFit's going to give you everything in between. It's going to give you strength. It's going to give you the running capacity. It's going to give you high work capacity, and it's going to give you a lot of skill development. Whereas Hyrox will definitely get you a lot leaner. And if you're not, then you're probably not pushing your absolute best paces. And again, it's just lower entry level of skill and demands in that type of aspect. And a lot of training for it will be 60 minutes plus. Right now, in the immediacy of it all, we're going to see a lot of females transition or even just turn up to a Hyrox event from CrossFit and do extremely well. Even recently, we've seen a group of women get a world record for the team division, and they were all CrossFitters. So long as you have a little bit of running under your belt, I think specifically for the females, with the other movements being quite important, and you know, the row, the ski, they all come into play, and if you've had a lot of time on those things, then you know how to use them a little bit better and pull a little bit harder. For the males, I don't think it's as important. The running is definitely going to be more of the race. But I'll keep it short. In summary, from me, Hyrox and CrossFit, beautiful, love it, coexist. I think that you should be able to do both. I don't think that there should be a you versus me type of mentality, or you can only do one or the other. I think that, I mean, what a shame. First and foremost, if that's your mindset, you're definitely leaving something off of the table that you should be able to be at least open-minded and be involved with, even if it's only on a lower level capacity. But for now, you'll definitely see myself and our crew definitely touching on that Hyrox type of modality, getting the Ks in the legs, and also always sticking with the CrossFit.